Hey, set your mind right now. Nothing before this matters. We came here with everything still on the line. Everything you wanted in the offseason is still out in front of you. What would you give for that moment right now? Let's go, man.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3.
Great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing.
Yo, what is good, Raider Nation? It is your boy Raider Alex. I am back with yet another video for you guys. In this video, guys, I want to talk about the NFL draft. What are the possibilities of us potentially moving up in the draft, in the first or second round? I'm going to talk about that, give my quick thoughts and opinions on that. Before I start, anybody that is new to the channel though, and you guys love Raiders related content like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. With that being said, let's jump right into it. So yeah, as we all know, the Las Vegas Raiders, we do not have a first round pick or a second round pick in this year's draft. After making the move to trade for Davante Adams, we gave up this year's first and second round pick. And honestly, something that was really interesting that I found out after the trade was that our GM Dave Ziegler was actually very insistent. He was actually very frustrated that at the end he did have to give up this year's second round pick in order to make the deal happen. It seemed like he was very insistent on only offering the 2022 first round pick and a 2023 second round pick, which I definitely agree. I think that would have been ideal. And I think this is just pure speculation on my part, but I think the reason why our GM was very insistent on getting that second round is because like I've said before, this year's draft, this second round holds so much value. That's one of the reasons why I was such a huge proponent of trading out of the first round pick and actually trying to get an extra pick in the second or possibly in the third as well. So I can definitely see why Ziegler was trying to keep this year's second round pick. And always seems like every year in the draft there's always a player or two that falls out of the first round into the second round that wasn't expected. And that's definitely where having a second round pick really comes in handy. So with that being said, is it a possibility? Would it be a good move for the Raiders to move up in this year's draft into the first or the second round? I will say in the first round, I don't really see us moving up in the first round. I honestly don't think it's the best choice. You'd have to, honestly, we don't have barely any draft capital this year. We only have 5 picks left, third round and back. At that point, you would have to either give up a star player on this roster, or you would have to give up high picks in this next year's draft, which like I said, ideally I don't want to do that. Now I think it's a lot more likely that we move up into the second round, and even if we do, I only see us moving up into the second round for a couple of different guys. I only see us moving into the second round if a guy like if one of those defensive tackles ends up dropping, if a Travis Jones is there, if a Devontae Wyatt is there, Perrion Winfrey, those sort of guys, if they start to drop in the second round, with defensive tackle still being I would say defensive tackle, we've picked up some nice pieces, but we still don't have that one guy that can you can say, oh, this guy's going to be a for sure starter, a for sure dominant piece on that defensive line. So really, that's the only position I see us moving up to in the second round, if, like I said, one of those guys falls. But I honestly don't see a guy like Devontae Wyatt or Travis Jones or Perrion Winfrey, any of those top defensive tackles, falling in the second round. I think after the combine that they had, I think they're going to be late first rounders, maybe early second round picks. So I really don't see us trading up for those guys. But like I said, if somehow they end up falling, then I think it's definitely a much better possibility that we trade up for one of those guys. And if we do want to trade up for one of those guys, if that scenario happens, what can we give up? Is it even realistic for us to move up? Now, personally, I feel like the only realistic way you can move up in the second round is you're gonna have to give up like a second or third, you know, a higher draft pick next year, or you're gonna have to trade a star player. I've heard the name of Josh Jacobs being floating around there, but honestly, I don't really see us being able to. Maybe you could get away with, you know, packaging a guy like Josh Jacobs, Brian Edwards, and you'd have to give up like next year's second and third round pick. Maybe that gets the job done, but even then, I'm kind of skeptical. I don't know why. I just don't see a team trading. You know, like I said, I think this year's second round pick is very valuable. I think, you know, most of these teams in the league understand that. So I feel like if you're offering them a guy like Josh Jacobs, they might not want to give up that draft capital for a guy like Josh Jacobs. Like, why would they want to give up such a valuable pick for a running? Don't get me wrong, he's a good running back, but he's due for a contract. He's already got 3 full seasons of wear and tear on his body, which even then he hasn't even played 3 full seasons because he's been banged up here and there. So I just don't see, you know, why they would accept a deal like that, especially if they need a running back too. Then they can just draft one in that second round. There should be some really good running backs from, you know, round 2 to round 5 in this year's draft. So I really just don't see the possibility of us trading Josh Jacobs to move up into the second round. Really, the only guy that I think you could, you know, end up trading for to get into that second round is a guy like Darren Waller. Honestly, you could probably get more for Darren Waller. You might be able to, you know, move up into the first round this year, or maybe like a third round next year, or maybe you want to move up in the second this year and you get first round or next year, whatever the case may be. I feel like that's the only, you know, legit trade asset we have in terms of players on this roster. And, you know, would I be okay with us trading away Darren Waller? Me personally, no. I think there's so much value in keeping a guy like Darren Waller, especially with getting Davante Adams. Now, getting Davante Adams, I think, is just gonna make Waller that much more of a focal point on this offense. I really feel like Darren Waller is going to have a breakout year this year with the acquisition of Davante Adams. It's going to be a scenario where I think, you know, most games, a lot of people are going to really focus in on Davante Adams. And I think, you know, Darren Waller is going to feast off of that. I think he's gonna have a great year. I see a guy like Davante Adams getting somewhere around 1,300 yards, 12 TDs, something like that, and I see a guy like Darren Waller being right behind him, maybe, you know, just hitting over 1,000 yards, close to 10 touchdowns for the year. Like I said, I think Darren Waller, I need to see that happen at least for 1 year. I need to see Davante Adams on the outside having a top 3 tight end in Darren Waller, having a top 3 slot receiver in Hunter Renfrow. That, like I said, that offense will be just electrifying. There's so many weapons for DC to choose from. But I will say, with a guy like Darren Waller, if my prediction comes true that he's going to have a breakout year next year, he is a free agent in 2024. So I definitely see that being a scenario where Darren Waller is going to hold out. He's going to want more money on his deal. Honestly, I was anticipating, you know, for that to happen this offseason. It's been really quiet on that front in terms of Darren Waller. There's a lot of chit chatter, you know, on the season that might be what he wanted to do, especially with him being with the Clutch Sports, the agency. But, you know, like I said, it's been really quiet on that front. I think Waller understands that it's not the best, it's not the ideal time and place for him to demand that type of money. He's coming off of a down year. There was crucial games where he wasn't available and we still were able to prevail, and essentially we made, you know, that big playoff push without him being a huge factor on offense. So like I said, I feel like he understands right now is not the best scenario. He doesn't have the best leverage to demand that type of money. But, you know, if next year he has a breakout season, like I think he will, that's definitely, you know, he's going to have a lot more leverage to demand that type of money. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. And at the end of the day, he is a tight end. You know, he's not a quarterback, you know, so, you know, you definitely have to listen to all the offers in terms of Darren Waller. At that point, I would just, you know, prefer we stay in the third round. Yeah, it sucks that we're not going to, most likely not going to be in the second round this year. But at that point, man, our roster is looking pretty good. It's not like we have any like huge glaring needs. Ideally, I think defensive tackle may be a position you look at, but at the same time, we have added some nice pieces on the defensive line. We're just missing that one guy that can be, you know, a dominant force on the defensive line. But as I said, man, I think it's pretty difficult for us to move into that second round if you're trying to trade a player. I think our best bet, man, is just to stay where we're at in the third round. Go best player available in rounds 3 to round 7, man, and especially with the roster looking the way it is, and we don't really have a glaring need at any position. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in this year's draft. The second round definitely holds a lot of value. So would I be shocked if somehow, some way we, you know, made a move to move up into that second round? I wouldn't be shocked, especially if one of those defensive tackles falls. But like I said, I think more realistically, I think we should just, you know, stay in the third round. We got 5 picks to hit on. Just go best player available, and let's try to add, you know, at least 3 quality starters, contributors to this team out of those picks, and maybe a couple guys that got potential, that sort of thing. But yeah, Raider Nation, those are my thoughts and opinions on us, on the possibility of us moving up in this year's NFL draft. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you guys think are the possibilities of us moving up in this year's draft. With that being said, Raider Nation, for anybody that is new to the channel and you guys love Raiders related content like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.